Hi everybody, I'm Mataure. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the last video of 2021. I hope everybody's doing well. Vlogmas is over and we did it. So I thought I'll do one last video for this year to just wrap up everything that we've done so far. But otherwise, I hope you guys are good. Have you subscribed to my channel? If you haven't, I don't know why. Please subscribe down below and let's get into this video. So for today's video, we are doing a Q&A. I asked you guys on Instagram as well as on YouTube to send me through some questions and you guys delivered. So I'm going to answer 20 questions. I've kept it at 20 because if it becomes more than that, I just go on and on and on and on. So yeah, let's just cap it at 20 questions and then let's get into the video. So first question, what do you apply on your skin? It's amazingly beautiful. Why, thank you. To be honest, not much. I always get so self-conscious when it comes to talking about my skin because I feel like I just don't know anything about skincare and I don't have some fancy routine. I literally just have this cream that my therapist recommended and that's about it. My skin is very spotty. This is me like without even a shred of makeup. This is what it looks like. It's not great. So I never answer anything skincare related because I honestly don't know. I don't know. I just wash my face and I use a lotion, like a cream that she gave me, and that's about it. So that's all I can say on skincare. Sorry. Next question, did Vlogmas go as you had expected and would you do something like that again? I think I would. I really think I would, to be honest. Okay, did it go as expected? I was shocked that I managed to make it all the way through. I didn't believe that I could do it. It was something new for me. And I didn't think I'd be able to make it all the way through. So that part shocked me. I thought I was going to do like 1, 2, 3, 4 videos and call it. But it was good. And I actually think I would do something like that again. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't really enjoy like having to edit every day and upload every day because our internet is very slow. But I did enjoy just like sharing my life with you. It was no pressure. It didn't have to be a whole YouTube production. The editing was very, very, very bare minimum. So I enjoyed like the pressure-free recording. The part that made it hard was like looking for content because I'm someone who does the same thing every day. So it's really, really boring for me to constantly be showing you guys the same thing. So that's the one thing that I didn't enjoy. But otherwise, it was a beautiful experience. I'd absolutely do it again. It was a pleasure discovering your IG page and YouTube channel. I love the authenticity. Thank you so much. Thank you. There's no question there. It's just a comment. But thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. What are you grateful for the most in 2021? Um, I have so much. I don't think I have a one thing that I'm most grateful for. But probably top of the list would be I'm grateful that we've made it through 2021 with my family intact. Intact being we didn't go through like any serious illness or like any loss of life of people very, very close to me. Of course, we experienced loss throughout the year, but like people like super, super close to me. Since my parents died, I've had that like constant fear of like losing one of my siblings or my husband or my kid. But this year we got out unscathed and I'm so grateful. So yes, that's probably top of my list. What do you think of long distance relationships? This one, you know what? I think to each their own, right? For me personally, it's a no. I cannot do long distance. I've done it before. It's just not for me. I can't. I think the kind of person that I am, I require constant, communication and that constant connection. So long distance for me doesn't work. I know some people where it works really well for them. I think it depends on you as a person. For me personally, no. I remember when I first met Chunks, at the time he was supposed to go and study his master's in the Netherlands. And I really, really liked him. But I was like, you know what? Once you go, this relationship is over because I do not do long distance. I've done it before. I was burnt badly, so I'm anti long distance. But I think it depends on you and your person. I think it does make it easier if you've got like an end in sight to when you won't have to do long distance anymore. And also, like if you plan to see each other regularly. I know with the pandemic, also, it's very, very difficult. But yeah, generally for me, no. But I've seen it work for other people. So yeah. I loved your marriage series and how honest y'all are. Will you do another one? I would love to. I'd really love to. I'm so, so passionate about like talking about marriage and relationships. So yeah, if you guys have any particular topics you want us to touch on, let me know down below in the comments. But otherwise, I would love to. To be honest, I'd actually love to do like a marriage retreat where we just like get together and just talk about marriage, because there's a lot of things that I'd love to share that I would not be willing to share on camera. But I always feel like I have so much to share, but obviously there's some things I would share like this and some things I simply wouldn't. So yeah, I'd love to do a marriage retreat, maybe in 2022, who knows? But otherwise, I would absolutely do another series for you guys. If you want me to, let me know in the comments. What do you think about promise rings? Um, this is again another one where it's up to you. Personally, I don't believe in them. Like, what is a promise ring? Like, what is an engagement ring not a promise ring? I don't know. I've never understood the concept. I've never been into it. Either you want to marry me or you don't. You can't promise to want to marry me later. I don't know. Either you're doing it or you're not. I don't understand the concept. Doesn't even make sense to me. If it's not going to be an engagement ring or a wedding band, I don't want it. What is a promise ring? You're promising to do what? I don't know. And are they different, or is a promise ring an engagement ring? I don't know. Personally, nope, not for me. The issue of engagement rings, however, I think it's a personal choice. So for me, I remember like when I was still dating Chunks and my mom was still alive and would talk about him, I always asked her, like, oh, mom, what do you think of engagement rings? And she's like, look, it's up to you. The problem with engagement rings is, you flaunt that ring and everything, and then things don't work out, and you guys don't end up getting married, and you end up getting embarrassed. But if you're willing to take that risk, it's up to you. That's why I know some people do Rora and then engagement. I don't know. But anyway, like most things, it's a personal choice. What's the ideal time to meet your boyfriend's parents or friends? Um, Friends, I think it's good to meet them early. Well, when you guys have decided you're officially dating, it's good to meet your boyfriend's friends. I think you learn a lot from the people that he hangs around with. You get to know a person more by who he associates himself with. Parents, I think you can do that when you guys feel your relationship is serious. By serious, I don't mean you're looking to get married tomorrow. I think it just depends. If you feel like, okay, I feel like this relationship might be going somewhere, I think it'll be good to meet his parents. But it depends on the parents. Because even the issue of when to introduce your man to your parents, that is, on a family level. You know what I mean? Like for most Africans, they don't ever want to meet your boyfriend until he's coming to Rora. That's some people. For me, my parents, their policy was they wanted to meet the people I was dating because they don't want to have to wait until I'm ready to marry this guy to realize this guy's absolutely terrible. So my parents met Chunks, I think before we'd even started dating, simply because he'd come to pick me up. I was catching a ride with him to Harare, but I was like, I just want them to meet him. Because for my mom, she really wanted to know the kind of guys I was hanging out with. So she has met like previous boyfriends of mine, and she would give her honest opinion, which is what I valued. I feel like your parents have got a good perspective of the person you're dating. So it depends on your family, but I think once you guys know that, okay, this is someone serious, I could potentially see a future with this person, and I'm serious about this person, that's a good time to do intros. Yeah. What's the one thing that keeps you going? Money, guys. I like to have food on my table. I like to have a roof over my head. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I had a more profound answer for you, but I like to be able to pay my bills. That's a good motivator. That's it. I wish I had something more deep to tell you guys, like, oh, it's my drive, it's my passion. No, I just like to have money to be able to do the things I want to do. That's about it. I want to be able to provide for my family, provide for my kid. That's about it. Nothing fancy about it. Yeah, as someone who's also like had to do without money for a long time, and yeah, it's basically money. Just to give you a summary, it's money. That's it. I love your videos. We want content from your hubby. He needs to be serious in 2022. Agreed. I was speaking to Chunks about that, and he's had so much on his plate this year. So next year he's looking to offload a couple of things so he has room to be able to do things like YouTube. So hopefully in 2022 you guys will be seeing more of Chunks. What's you and Chunks' age gap, and do you think that's played a part in your relationship dynamics? So Chunks and I are 6 years apart. I'm turning 30 in 2022, in 2 weeks actually. I'm turning 30, he's turning 36 in May. Yeah, so it's 6 years. I think it's a good age gap for me. I've always felt like I'm someone who's a bit more mature, so I feel I've always needed someone who's quite a few years older than me. I feel like I joila my age mates, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it's hard to say if it's played a part. I think age doesn't matter as much as we think it does, as in if we're all at the appropriate ages. I am not saying age ain't that about a number. No, 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 no. Please don't date small children. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think in terms of your relationship dynamics, it boils down to your personalities more than anything. Chunks is 6 years older than me, but sometimes I still feel like I'm dealing with someone who's younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a personality thing and how you relate to each other. But I do think for me personally, I do prefer a partner who's got a bit more experience than me in a lot of things in terms of like travel and different hobbies and different things. So again, I think it's more personality based, but yeah, maybe. I think it's a personal preference thing. Based on your 2021 goals, what percentage of them did you smash? 2021. So I don't know. I was looking at a lot of the goals that I set were financial. I hardly, hardly even scratched the surface on so many of them. But I realized like the other goals that I'd set that were like health related and like mental health related, I actually did really well in a lot of those. 2021 started out terribly for me mentally. January 2021 was probably the worst, one of the worst months I've had in a long time. My mental health was terrible. My anxiety was through the roof. I was depressed. I was going through so much at the time. And I've made a lot of progress, I think, where I am now and where I was then. I think I'm in a different place. I can cope better. Therapy helped a lot, and I feel like in terms of like that, I think I managed my goal. I kept my kid alive, so I would say I smashed my motherhood goal. I think that's a good goal to keep your kid alive. But yeah, I think financial goals, Nick, I met nearly none of them because financially the year hit and we just went into survival mode. We've been in survival mode for most of this year. So I've given myself a lot of grace on that. There's a lot of things that happened in a way that we didn't expect them to happen. It's been very, very tough. So financially and stuff, I'm not giving myself a headache. The fact that we're still here to me is a victory. So that one is hard to answer. So if I had to say what percentage, I would say maybe 70%, but not of the goals that I'd originally intended beginning of the year. So, for example, me surviving this year for me, I didn't know at the beginning of the year that it was going to be a goal, but right now to me, it's a victory. So, it's hard to say, I guess. Hey, Kelly, I love your channel. How do you and Chunks resolve disagreements? Well, about disagreements, one thing that we've always laid down is we have rules for how we disagree. I always say it's important to fight nicely. There's some rules that we have when we disagree that you cannot ever cross no matter what happens. For example, we don't ever raise our voices ever, ever, ever whenever we fight and or disagree, and we never ever like resort to insulting each other. That's absolutely not allowed. So once you have certain ground rules on the table, you find you can disagree nicely. There are times when it's okay to say, look, let's agree to disagree, or to park an argument to say, okay, look, right now I'm not in the right space. I think I'm too emotional to discuss this. Can we shelve it for another time? So I think eventually you start to learn your partner. Chunks is one of those where he can't sleep without having discussed something. He's that kind of person. Whereas for me, I'm someone who sometimes I can say things off the cuff that are really, really hurtful. So because of that, I sometimes prefer to wait. And then when I wake up in the morning, immediately from the time I open my eyes, I'm ready to talk. So we've had that conflict in the past. But now I know to say, I communicate the night before to say, look, I acknowledge what you're saying. Right now, I'm not in the right space to address it, but I think I prefer to talk about it in the morning. But yeah, it's just remembering that even when you're disagreeing, you're fighting for each other. You're not fighting with each other. It's you and your partner against the issue, not you against your partner. So I think if you always have that in the back of your mind, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. But there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, look, maybe let's have this discussion another time. There's some toxic traits that do make disagreements escalate unnecessarily. For example, walking out on your partner, ignoring your partner when they're trying to say something, insulting your partner, speaking over them. Those are those little things that just make things blow out of proportion. So I think disagreement etiquette is also important. It's not always easy. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you do feel like screaming, but a lot of marriage is about self control and just taking a beat before you speak. So, yeah, I would recommend that. Learn your person, learn your own personality and how you handle things. Once you know yourself and you know your partner, it makes it a lot easier for you to navigate those situations. Hey Kelly, mine is not a question, but a big up to your husband for being a supportive and great father. Yes, indeed. I do I do agree with you. Absolutely. He is a very supportive partner and a very great father. I struck gold. I am grateful. I don't even take it for granted. I thank God every day for Chunks being the person he is. I always tell you guys I call him my testimony because I've never understood how God would bless me with such an amazing person. But yes, I don't take it for granted. Absolutely, he's amazing. Me and my husband watch all your videos together and we love you guys. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's your highlight of this year? Sure, highlight of the year. What's my highlight of the year? I don't know if I had like a big milestone highlight of the year. I think I just had a highlight of like several things that have happened. For example, seeing my sisters in August was a very big highlight for me. It was lovely to spend time with my family. Um, I'd say probably that. Yeah, actually, the amount of time I got to spend with like my sisters and my brother in August, that was the highlight of my year. Yeah, because we don't get to do that often, so probably that. 2022 resolutions. I don't know how I feel about resolutions. I have goals, um, things I want to achieve in 2022. I don't think I call them resolutions anymore. I find sometimes I set very, very unrealistic resolutions for myself, and I end up getting so disappointed when I don't um, when I don't achieve them. I'm not saying you mustn't dream big, but for me, I feel like sometimes I set myself up for failure. So I'm not working on. Of course, we've got goals. Like in our marriage review, we'll discuss like mutual goals that we're trying to work on. But I think for me, one of my resolutions is to put in systems into my life. So, like systems like drinking water every day, like small goals. I watched a TikTok about this guy who said, like, make your goals small and manageable. So it's the simple thing. So for me, that's the kind of thing that I want to do. I don't my goal used to be something like, oh, lose 10 kgs. I don't want that goal anymore. I think I just want to be healthy. So for now, my goal, like health wise, is just like move your body every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to focus more on instilling the habits. I started reading Atomic Habits some time back. So I want to focus more on the habits, not necessarily the big goals, because I think progress is made of the little steps and not the big leaps. So yeah, I think that's about it for 2022 resolutions. Which political party do you support, if any? I don't support. Okay, I am not a member of any political party. There's no political party that I support per se. I believe in a government that has its people at heart. So for me, I'm not a politician. I'm a businesswoman and I am a citizen. I believe in backing the party that has my best interests at heart and the people around me, my people's best interests at heart. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say on that. Despite that, even though I'm not a member of any political party, I will still vote 2023. I hope everybody out there is going to go and register. I think we all need to play our part. I think even if you're not sure, because some people say to me, oh, but you can't register to vote. Who am I going to vote for? Sure, register and decide when you get there. But for me, I believe in the party, not the party, but those who are for the people and who have the people's best interests at heart. Yeah. So I think mine is more value based. I think when it comes to political parties, there's nobody who's perfect, but I think align yourself with the one that aligns most with what you believe in. So for me, things like uh, a party that puts human rights first and anti-corruption first and genuinely walks the talk, that's probably who I would affiliate myself more with. But at the moment, no, I'm not a member of any political party. I'm just an outspoken citizen who calls it like I see it on the ground. So yeah. Last question. What is the biggest lesson you learned in 2021? Yo, guys, the biggest lesson that I learned so many. I don't even think I can say one. So our theme for this year, 2021, was growth and abundance. And I think I've grown so much. Like, I've been put in some of the most difficult situations. And I've learned that as an adult, guys, nobody's coming to save you, hey? No one is coming to save you. you are your biggest problem, but you're also your biggest solution. So I've learned that I've been through some very deep lows this year. And I've sat there and wallowed and realized ultimately it's up to me to dig myself out. Eh? So that was probably my biggest lesson, that I'm stronger than I think I am. And again, I am the only solution. And God, of course, through God. God. But God doesn't need my help, but He needs my participation. You know what I'm saying? Like, God can turn your situation around overnight, but He also needs you to get out of bed and show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've learned to show up, yeah, whether I feel like it, whether I'm in the mood, whether I want to or not. I've learned that showing up is the most important thing. And done is better than perfect. Sometimes, perfectionism, if that's a word, is a form of procrastination. So I've learned that, once you show up and you're done, do it. I'd rather put out something mediocre than not put out something at all, which I know goes, against what most people say, like, oh, make sure it's perfect. But for me, sometimes as long as it's done, I will perfect it by practicing and doing it more often, as opposed to waiting till I have the perfect thing. So I've also learned, start before you're ready, because you'll never be ready, especially business wise. Those of you who want to start a YouTube channel, start before you're ready. Just jump in and just do it. You'll learn as you go. I've been doing this for like a year, a year and a half now, and I'm learning as I go as well. So that will probably be my biggest lesson. Just keep swimming, honey. And also the way you talk to, sorry, it's not just one thing I learned, but it's so many things. But like, also the way you talk to yourself is so important. Like, I realized when I was in the deep trenches of like my depression earlier this year, that some of the things I was saying to myself, I would never, ever say to somebody that I loved. I would never, ever. But for some reason, I felt it was okay to talk to myself in a certain way. So I've also learned to speak to myself well. Sometimes I sit there, I'm like, well done, Kelly. You are doing great, sweetie. You are doing a good job. Well done. Today was hard, but you showed up, honey. Well done. So I have learned to be kinder to myself in the way I speak to myself. This year, to be honest, the biggest journey I went on was a mental health journey. I've had a lot thrown my way this year. And I've been so low. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't say this lightly, but I've been I've been in such a bad place mentally that I've sometimes thought, you know, when you're not alive, at least you're not thinking. I'm not saying I was going to hurt myself. I was not going to hurt myself. I was not going to harm myself. But sometimes having that thought of being like, yo, it must be so peaceful, hey? Like, you're just not thinking. You're just quiet. Your mind is just quiet. It must be beautiful. And I've had those very dark thoughts, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I don't want anyone to freak out or anything. I'm not ashamed, but I'm not ashamed to admit that I've had thoughts where I'm like, being dead must be so peaceful. Not that I had any intention to do anything about it, but just being in that mind frame where I'm like, my mind, I can't take it. But I've come from there to where I am today, where I don't have it all figured out, and I am not in the best possible like mental shape I could ever be in, but I'm much further than I was before. And I feel a little bit more capable to handle things that are coming my way. I'm not saying I'm not going to cry. I've cried more tears this year than I've cried in a long time, but I've learned that crying, it's okay. You can cry and then go ahead and pick yourself up once you're done, because again, who's gonna save you? Like, unless you get out of bed, no one else can do it for you. So yeah, I know that was a bit of a dark turn. I'm sorry if that may have triggered some people. But yeah, I think that's just the reality, guys. Like, that's life. Like, it's full of ups and downs. I'm excited for 2022. I feel like I've toughened up. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm more capable to handle things coming my way. I've toughened up. I've been on a journey of like getting to know myself so much better. Knowing yourself is honestly half the battle. I now know myself. I now know the boundaries to put in place for myself. I know how to protect myself from things that affect me unnecessarily. And I'm learning to mind my business, which is also a beautiful thing to do. I've learned that not every fight involves me. Not every discussion needs my opinion. Not everything that triggers me requires my input. It's okay to just look and look away. Okay? Say it with me. Just look and look away. It's okay. It's fine. It's just one of those things. Particularly on Twitter. Twitter can be a very toxic place, but look away. It's okay. You don't have to fight all the trolls. That's 100% fine. So yeah, guys, that's it for 2021. Thank you so much to everybody, each and every one of you who has been on this journey with me. Thank you to all those guys that have liked, subscribed, who've shared, who've commented. I can't even start naming you guys because it's like trying to name your blessings. You'll never ever finish. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's raining now. I hope you guys can still hear me. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. I am taking a break from the 1st to the 10th of all social media. So you're not going to find me on Instagram, Facebook, none of those. That's the fast I've chosen to take in the first bit of the month. I'm going to be off social media for a bit. So I'll see you guys on the 11th. And my birthday is on the 12th of January. So I'll be back just before my birthday. But otherwise, until then, you can catch me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, check me out there at Kelly_Mataure. But otherwise, thank you so much for the journey, guys. It's been beautiful. I'll see you in 2022. Bye.